Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Shudhanandana Vijayanaranjana Shudhanandana Vijayanaranjana Jamuna Hira Panachari Jamuna Hira Panachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Shudhanandana Vijayanaranjana Shudhanandana Vijayanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kishodanandana Vijayanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Shudhanandana Vijayanaranjana Shudhanandana Vijayanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Sri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Ni hao.
您好，
Welcome to everyone.
欢迎大家来到我们的课堂。
Prabhupada ki jai. So we have one question from last week, is that correct?
Yes, yes, we do have one question from last week. 这个问题是来自于华为的。据说在灵性世界都有服务 Krishna 的不同观点多样性，怎么知道谁的观点最符合当下的服务呢？ We have been told that in the spiritual world, everyone has their different opinion to to render the service to Lord Krishna, in this case to manifest the varieties. So how do we know whose idea is best fit with the present moment, with the need of the present moments of the service?
Dr. Kelly, you want to put on your video
Yes,
so we can see the
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hari Bola. Well, in the spiritual world, everyone is engaged in a different rasa.
那么在灵性世界呢，所有的人他们都是致力于自己的不同的 rasa 中的，
So the varieties will come from the differences in rasa.
所以说呢，就这个不同这个多样性，它是来自于不同的 rasa 的。
So you'll want to serve Krishna according to your rasa, your
那所以呢，
relationship.
那所以呢，你可能是愿意根据你的不同的 rasa、不同的关系来服务 Krishna。
So of course they have no material body. So it is not like in this world where we have material propensities.
那么在灵性世界呢，我们是没有物质的躯体的，它并不是像我们在这个物质世界的这种物质的倾向而进行的服务。
When we reach a stage of Baba, then we will know our relationship, and that will at least dictate internally certain kinds of desires and variety.
那么当我们达到了爸爸的这个阶段的时候呢，那会儿我们就能够知道我们的灵性的身份是什么了，在那会儿就能够按照就是永恒的这种多样性、永恒的倾向去服务。
But if you're asking how if there are varieties of ways to serve Krishna here, if you're asking how do we know what is best for us, that's in our present state, that won't be a consideration of rasa, but consideration of nature, material nature.
Material nature, OK，
Material propensities, varna, ashram, like that.
但如果我们要是在问，就是我们在物质世界的当下的这个服务的多样性呢，那它其实并不是来自于我们永恒的这个身份的倾向来说的，而是根据我们现在在这个物质世界的物质属性的处在的这种情况下去进行的这个服务。
So one way to understand, one easy way to understand is if I have something of value, then I want to use that for Krishna.
有一个很简单的方式去理解这一点，就是如果我要是有一样很宝贵的东西，我想把这宝贵的东西呢用于对Sri Krishna 的服务之中。
I might have leadership qualities or management qualities.
没准也许我可能我有这种领袖的品质，我有管理的品质，管理的能力，
or qualities to teach or counsel.
或者说呢，我也可以有这个去教导，或者是给别人出主意的资格。
I may be able to make money, or I may be able to farm.
或者说我可能能赚钱，或者我能种地。
Maybe I'm a writer, musician, artist.
或者是我是一位作家，我是一位音乐家。
So then we would utilize those propensities in a context of what needs to be done in service.
那所以说呢，我们就用我们的这种倾向或者这种能力去用于对Sri Krishna 的服务之中。
It's something like having a lot of money.
就好像有好多钱。
Let's say you have a lot of money, but you just let it sit in the bank.
我们说，如果我们有好多钱，我们就让这个钱存在银行里。
So that would be a misuse of the money.
那么这个其实是用这个钱不对的方式。
So our talents, our intelligence, our abilities are like that money. So they're meant to be employed in service.
那所以说，我们的能力呀，我们的才华呀，我们的品质啊，都是像是这个在银行里的钱一样。那我们应该把它用在对服务的活动中。
So I think the real question then comes up more specifically how I can employ those in service, or which abilities I should employ in service.
那我觉得这个问题应该这么问，就是我应该如何把我的这些能力更好的用于服务之中。
And sometimes it may not be clear to you, and you may have to discuss it with other devotees.
但有的时候呢，这个你自己可能并不是特别的清楚，你可能需要跟其他的奉献者来进行交流才能知道。
But the whole idea is, according to my abilities and intelligence and nature, how can I best employ that in serving the mission of ISKCON?
那就其实就是说我如何能够更好的把我的能力、把我的才华、把我的这个资格全部都更好的用于Krishna，就是在 ISKCON 的这个使命上。
There is also the consideration of where your inspiration lies.
那还有一个想法呢，就是你的这个灵感它处在什么地方？
So what are you good at and what are you inspired to do?
那你擅长于做什么呢？或者说你更激励着想要去做什么呢？
So if you allow yourself to consider these things, it will gradually or immediately become obvious that you have a certain nature and certain abilities. Then you just have to figure out how to use them in service.
那所以说，如果你要是愿意以这样的方式去思考的话呢，那么你去考虑你所有的这种本性或者你有些的这种能力，这么去思考，然后也就很容易的立刻让你去把这些能力用在对 Krishna 的服务上了。
So you have two things.
你有两个东西，
One thing is spreading the mission, reaching other people with Krishna consciousness.
那么第一点呢，就是去传播Krishna 知觉，然后呢，让其他的人也能够进入到 Krishna 知觉中。
And another thing is doing something which inspires you, which is going to help you in your spiritual life.
那另外一件事情呢，就是去做一件事儿，那么这件事儿呢，是能够激励你，让你更好的去过你的灵性生活的。
Because if you're engaged in a service it is not inspiring or satisfying, it can have a negative impact on you, and it can have a negative impact on your sadhana.
因为如果要是你做了一件事情，那么这件事情它其实并没有那么的鼓励你或者激励你的这个灵性生活的话，那么没有更激励你去做这个服务的话，那其实这可能是会对你的 sadhana 或者对你的生活有负面的影响的。
We have this idea that whatever Krishna wants, I should do.
那我们有这样一个说法，就是Krishna 想要什么，我们就应该去做那件事儿。
Whatever my guru wants, whatever my authorities want, I should do.
我的 guru 想要的那件事儿，或者是我的领导想要的那件事儿，那就是我要去做的。
And of course, that's important.
那当然这是很重要的。
But if you have millions and millions and millions of yen in the bank, that should also be utilized.
但是如果你要是在银行里面要是存了好几百万的人民币的话，那钱也应该被用在服务上。
Millions of yen of ability. Then you can communicate that to leaders. This is my ability. I'd like to use that in service.
那如果你要是有millions yens of ability,
Yeah, like we're giving the example of you have millions of yens you don't spend. So the yens are compared to your talents, intelligence, and so forth. So you can tell your leaders, I have these abilities. I'd like to engage.
Yes, Marge. 就是如果要是我们有好多那种就是自己存起来的各种各样的能力呀、品质啊、天资啊，就这些我们不能让它存着，我们就得去和我们的领导要去沟通，然后呢跟他说我有这些能力，我可以把它用在对Sri Krishna 的服务之中。
And generally, devotees do better when they're inspired in their service.
那通常来说呢，当奉献者在服务中受到激励、受到鼓舞的时候呢，他们是会感到很好的。
When you're inspired, you work harder. When you're inspired, your sadhana is better.
那么当你受到鼓舞的时候呢，你就会更努力的去工作，你的 sadhana 也会休息得更好。
So inspiration it's very important.
所以呢，就是激励、鼓舞也是非常的重要的。
So it's a combination of let us do what Prabhupada wants, but let us use our nature in fulfilling that desire.
所以呢，就一个呢是说了他希望我们做什么，我们就去做什么。那另外一个呢，就是要根据我们的天性去做说了想要做的这个事情。要把这两件事情合起来。
What was last week's class about? I forgot.
那咱们上个星期的课是关于什么的课啊？fitting the life， 就是上个星期的课是不是就是 Krishna 知觉和咱们实际生活相连接？
上周是合作。
Okay. So last week was cooperation.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that question related to.
顾主他在想，就这个问题和咱们上周的课它是怎么个
I think
契合起来的？
it relates more to today's class, actually.
那我想今天就他这个问题，其实跟咱们今天的这个课呢，其实要更加的相关。
Because today we're going to talk about goals.
因为今天这节课呢，我们将讨论目标。
But if you have a goal that's not really aligned with your nature, it's probably the wrong goal.
但是如果我们要是有一个目标的话，也许可能这个目标它并不是和我们的本性相连接在一起的。因为如果和我们本性相连接起来，这可能就是一个错误的目标。
So if your feeling is like, I'm not inspired in my service, it's probably because that service isn't aligned with your nature.
就是如果我要是觉得就是我没有被我的这个服务所激励所鼓舞，那也许可能这个服务是和你的本性相连在一起的。
So let's say I have a goal to write a book, but I'm not a writer.
那比如说呢，我有一个目标，我是想写本书，但是我自己并不是作家。
There's a good chance I'll just procrastinate. I'll never do it.
那所以说呢，我就会拖延，我可能最终也没有写出这本书来。
Or I'll do it and then I'll get frustrated and I'll give it up because it's too difficult for me.
那或者说呢，我就真的去写书了，可是呢，我又放弃了，因为写书这事儿对我来说太难了。
Sometimes we might think we're lazy when we're not. We just have the wrong goal. It's not a goal that's aligned with our nature. So we're not inspired. So it seems like we're lazy.
那有的时候呢，我们表现出来的好像是我们非常的懒惰，但其实呢，我们并不是因为懒惰不去执行我们的目标，而是因为我们的这个目标呢，它和我们的这个本性它并没有契合在一起，所以说呢，我们就愿意拖延着就不去做。
You see that with children. You ask them to clean their room. I don't want to. I don't feel like it. I'm tired.
那比如说呢，我们就看这小孩，他就会有这样的展现。让小孩去收拾房间，他就会说：“哎呀，我不想收拾房间，我太累了。”
Then their friend comes over and they go out and they run around for 3 hours.
然后呢，他的这个小朋友来找他玩的时候呢，他立刻就蹦起来，完了跑出去跟他的小朋友一起玩3小时。
So they weren't lazy. They just weren't inspired to clean their room. But they're not lazy. Once you find something they like, then they're full of energy.
那所以说呢，他表现出来的这个懒惰，是因为他并没有被激发着要去做这件事儿。但是呢，当他一下被激发出他想做的这件事儿的时候呢，他立刻就活跃了，他也不懒了。
And I think we all have experienced that.
我想我们大家都有这样的体验。
So Prabhupada wanted us to be happy. He wanted us to be inspired.
那么说Prabhupada呢，他是希望我们处在快乐的状态，被鼓励的状态。
And that is very easy when you have a service that you're inspired to do.
那么当你有一个你非常鼓舞着、激励着去做的一个服务的时候，那么这会儿这件事就变得容易了。
There's so many ways to serve.
有很多的服务的方式。
So many ways to spread Krishna consciousness. So many possibilities.
那么有太多的方式传播 Krishna 知觉，有太多的可能性。
So there's a way for all of us to be inspired.
所以说呢，有这种让我们所有的人都得到激励的方式。
Now, sometimes Prabhupada did something interesting.
那么有的时候呢，说爸就会做一些很有意思的事儿。
The devotee would have a service. Let's say he was preaching to scientists.
那么
Or go ahead.
sorry
Yeah.
sorry，这个奉献者呢，他就有这么一个服务，这个服务呢，就是向科学家去传教，
Or he was preaching in universities.
或者说呢，他在大学里传教，
Or he was distributing books.
或者呢，他在派书，
Or he was organizing a gurukula.
或者他在组织咕噜库学校，
Or he was a temple president.
或者他是庙长，
Or he was a Sankirtan leader.
或者他是一位 Sankirtan 领袖。
We have examples in every one of these services that Prabhupada telling each devotee, this is the most important service. He said that to all devotees doing all those services. He said, this is the most important service.
那我们有这么一个体验哈，就是说了爸他会对所有的从事各种奉献服务的人的这个奉献者说，这是最重要的服务。
And there's a couple of ways we can look at this.
那我们可以从不同的角度，从2个角度来看待这个这样说话。
That a devotee should think, my service is very important. This is very important. My service is very important to Prabhupada.
那么这位奉献者他就应该在想，我的服务是非常重要的，我的服务对于说爸来说是非常重要的。
Because then the devotee will be inspired.
那这样的话呢，就会让这个奉献者受到鼓舞，受到激励。
Secondly, because the spiritual world has no limitation, you can have 5 things that are all the most important.
那么因为这个灵性世界呢，它是无限的，所以说呢，你可以就5件事都是最重要的。
And in this world, of course, most important means it's at the top. But in that world, you can have many most importants.
那么在这个物质世界呢，最重要也就意味着它有一个顶头，它就到了顶级了。但是呢，在物质世界是可以很多都是最重要的。
All those services were necessary, therefore all most important.
因为所有的服务都是非常必要的，所以说呢，都是最重要的。
So I rarely saw, if even ever, if a devotee was inspired to do a specific service, Prabhupada would say, don't do that. The only time he would say that is if he needed personally that devotee to do something else. Otherwise, he would just encourage them to do it.
所以说呢，就是从来就没有看到，有一个奉献者他想做一个服务，然后说了爸对他说你不要去这么做。唯一的可能性就是当说了爸他希望这个奉献者去做一个特定的一个服务的时候，他才会让这个奉献者去做那个服务，否则的话他是会非常鼓励他做那个服务的。
Or if he thought that service was of no value, then he would say, of course, don't do it. But in general, if a devotee wanted to do something, he would encourage it.
或者说了爸就看到这个奉献者想要从事的这个服务是没有价值的话，那他不会去鼓励他做。否则的话呢，说了爸一定是会鼓励奉献者想要去做的服务的。
Because if the devotee is inspired to do a service, that's good. Prabhupada's happy.
因为当一位奉献者他很激励着去做一个服务的时候是非常好的，说了爸也是很开心的。
So you should all be thinking, if you haven't already thought, what am I inspired to do? What would I like to do for Krishna?
所以说呢，我们就必须要这么想，就是我到底喜欢做些什么？我被激励着、被鼓励着去做一个什么想为 Krishna 做的事儿呢？
We should all have some service.
那我们每一个人都必须要有一些服务。
Not that we just have sadhana and no service. That's not good.
并不是说我们只是去完成我们的 sadhana 就好了。如果只是做 sadhana 作为我们的服务的话，不够好。
Sometimes devotees are inspired in particular ways, and then they may take some courses to enhance their ability because they know this is the service I want to specialize in.
那么比如说有些奉献者，他们被鼓励着、被激励着做一些服务，然后呢，他就会去上一些课，然后用这个课程呢来增长自己在这方面的能力，因为他知道这就是他想做的那个服务。
And Prabhupada often said, strain your brain. In other words, keep thinking, how to spread Krishna consciousness, how, and that's also very specific to your nature, how you can do it specifically.
那么舍利帕经常就会说呢，你脑子一直要转，一直要想，一直要想着怎么能够为 Sri Krishna 做服务，而且呢，这个服务呢，它也要这个和你自己的这个本性相契合。
Because if you have an idea how to spread Krishna consciousness and you can't do it personally, you're dependent on others. So strain your brain how you can utilize your intelligence and abilities in spreading Krishna consciousness.
那就比如说你有一个想法，怎么去服务 Krishna， 但是呢，你自己没有这个能力去做，然后呢，你就得去依靠于其他人去做。所以呢，就我们自己的这个脑子要不断的转，不断的在想如何用我们自己的能力，用我们的智慧去服务 Krishna。
We have a lot of service to do to help devotees and help people who are not yet devotees. But ultimately, that service ends up helping us more than it helps anybody else.
那你比如说呢，我们有很多的服务，有很多的事情我们可以去做，去帮助其他的奉献者，或者去帮助那些还没有成为奉献者的这些人。但其实最终来说呢，就是所有的这一些服务，与其说更多的帮到了别人，还不如说更多的帮到了我们自己。
So it's always good to remember that service is also for my benefit.
所以呢，我们总要时刻的记住，其实这个服务它也是利于我们自己的。
Yeah. So having a goal, of course, is necessary, but having the right goal, not the wrong goal. Just a goal is not what you want. You want a goal that's right for you, according to your nature and inspiration.
那所以说呢，就是当然我们要有一个目标是非常的必要的，但是呢，我们还需要有一个正确的这个目标。那这个目标呢，它是需要和我们的这个灵感和我们的本性是要相契合的这么一个目标。
You want goals that get you out of bed inspired.
那就是你希望有一个这么一个目标，是能够让你从床上爬起来，然后呢被激励、被激发。
So you jump out of bed and say, "Jai, devotional service, another day."
然后呢，这样你一下子从床上就跳起来，然后说 "Jai， 又一天，这一天我要开始做奉爱服务了。"
You're inspired about your service.
所以说你是会被你的这个服务所激励的。
And all of you in China should be thinking, long range, like what can I do to make the movement long range successful in China?
那所以我们在中国的奉献者呢，就应该在想着我们能够做一些什么样的服务，能够让这个Krishna 知觉在中国的发展能够变得长久，变得成功。
What is the best way I can contribute to this, according to my abilities and intelligence and resources?
那么我能够通过我的能力、我的智慧，以什么样最好的方式，能够为这件事情做出一些贡献呢？
And sometimes someone else has a goal, and then you copy that goal and you think that should be my goal, but not necessarily is someone else's goal meant to be your goal.
那有的时候呢，我们就看到其他人有一个目标，然后我们就觉得我干脆从他那儿把这个目标给抄过来算了。但是呢，其他人的目标并不一定是您的目标。
Because what inspires someone else, if you did it, could frustrate you or burn you out.
因为呢，就是对适合于别人的目标，如果我们要是去做的话，那可能会让我们非常的疲惫，非常的沮丧的。
I'll give you an example.
我给你一个例子。
In the early days of the movement, a devotee was visiting Mayapur, and it was such a big project. He said, I would love to manage this project. He was very excited.
那就是在我们运动早期的时候呢，有位奉献者他就来到了马尔普，然后在马尔普呢有一个很大的一个项目，然后呢他也觉得特别兴奋，他说：“哎呀，我有能力，我能够管理好这个项目。”
And when I go to Mayapur, I just think, oh, there's so many devotees here. I'd love to do classes.
然后呢，当我到了这个马尔普之后呢，我就说：“哎呀，这有这么多奉献者，那我喜欢给这些奉献者们上课。”
And then I thank Krishna.
然后 I thank Krishna.
I thank Krishna.
然后呢，我就对 Krishna 说谢谢。
Thank you, Krishna, that I don't have to manage this project.
然后我对 Krishna 说，非常感谢 Krishna，我不用来管理这个项目。
So very different natures get
所以
inspired by different things.
所以说呢，我们因为有不同的本性，所以说呢，我们是会被不同的事情所鼓舞。
Sometimes you see some people say, I hate thinking about money.
有的时候我们就会听到奉献者会说，你知道吗？我就一想起钱我就烦，
It just puts me in anxiety.
因为这样的话呢，就会让我感到很焦虑。
Whoever created money, I want to kill him. I hate money.
那个就是创造出钱的那个人呢，我就想把他给杀了，因为我实在太讨厌钱了。
Some people are like that, right?
有些人是这样的，对吧？
And some people cannot think. Some people think 24 hours a day about making money. They can't stop thinking about it.
但是有些人呢，一天24小时他都在想着怎么赚钱，他根本就不可能停下来想着不赚钱这事儿。
You see all these big companies, multinational, the founders of those companies, that's how they think.
那你比如说，我们看这个国际的大公司们，就这些公司们，他们的创始人最开始都是这样的，都是这样一天24小时在想着赚钱。
If we start a retreat center in China, for example, and if you bring the Brahmins together, they'll talk about the education and how they help people. And you bring the Vaishyas together, they'll talk about how many people came, how much money we made, how many books we sold. They think of everything in terms of dollars and cents. And the Brahmins think of everything in terms of how many lives we've saved. This is different nature.
那比如说我们在中国办了一个这个进修营，然后呢，你把这些这个婆罗门都给组织起来之后呢，这个婆罗门他就会在想，就是你看我们都上了多少课，然后呢，我们都帮了多少人，我们帮了多少灵魂。然后如果我们要把一些 Vaishya 给组织起来了以后呢，他们就会在想，你看今天来了多少人，我们赚了多少钱，我们多少书派出去了。所以呢，就是因为他们的这个天性不一样，所以他们的想法也不一样。
And if you force the Vaishya just to think, don't think about money, just think about the students. And you force the Brahmins, don't just think about the students, think about how a profit. They'll both get depressed. They can't do it. It's not their nature.
但如果我们要是就是强迫这些 Vaishya 们别想钱了，只是为这些学生的利益着想，那么如果要是让这些婆罗门们在想，不要想着就是怎么让这个就是教的多少东西给这个学生，而是想着我们怎么在这里面能够赚到钱，这样就会使这两拨人都郁闷了，因为不是他们的本性。
So you tell the Brahmin, oh, you have this course. You could get rich teaching this course. The Brahmin's like, whatever. You take it. You take the course and teach it. You get rich. I don't care. That's just the nature of Brahmins.
那然后如果你要是对这个婆罗门说，如果你要是教这个课的话，那你就会变得富有。然后这个婆罗门就说，哎，你爱怎么说怎么说吧，你拿着这课你去赚钱去吧，这就是他的天性。
And the Vaishyas thinking how you can divide up the course into many levels and how you can market it and charge more money for each level and advertise amongst wealthy people and do a weekend retreat and charge them all kinds of money, and you could make enough money in a week to live all year. And it's just how their minds are.
然后呢，这个 Vaishya 他就会在想，呀，这个课我能够把它给分成几个级别呢？然后哪个级别我都是怎么收钱呢？然后呢，哪一个级别的这个课程我应该去吸引什么样的有钱人呢？就这个 Vaishya 他的这个脑子，他就是会自然就会这么去想。
And they already have more money than they need, but they get inspired by making more money.
那这个 Vaishya 他其实已经有了比他这个需要的更多的钱，但是呢，他就是会被鼓励着、被激励着，不断的去赚钱。
Anyway, we have different natures, so we can employ those natures in service.
但是呢，因为我们有不同的这个天性，所以说呢，我们就可以把我们的这个天性用于去做我们的服务。
So the first point of goals is don't make goals that are against your nature.
所以说呢，就是关于制定目标的第一个原则，就是不要去设定一个违背自己的天性的目标。
So you talk to a student, what's your major? And they say, my major is engineering. And you say, do you like engineering? And some students will say, no, I don't like it, but it's good employment. It's a secure job. So they're not going to be happy doing that.
那么比如说你问一个学生，你的这个主业是什么呀？就是你的主修的是什么呀？他说我主修的是工程，然后会说那你喜欢这个工程吗？不喜欢工程学。那你为什么要学呢？这个学工程学的原因呢，不是因为我喜欢，而是因为我能够找到一个稳定的工作。那这样一来的话呢，他就不会快乐的。
So if you look at Varnashram, then Varna doesn't take in, you don't choose a Varna based on the job market. You choose it based on your nature.
所以如果我们要看我们的阿上的这个体系的话，那么这个 呢，就是当我们再去寻找这个工作的时候，when we choose for the job not based on the
Job market,
不是
based on your nature.
就是去寻找这个，就是这不是根据现在这个工作市场上有的这个工作去寻找的，而是根据我们自己的天性去选择的。
I asked a question once to some Indians.
那我有一次呢，向一些印度人问了个问题。
Most of them were in the IT profession.
那么大部分这些印度人呢，他们都是从事 IT 行业的。
Software developers and engineers also, I think, was number 2.
然后呢，他们要不然就是软件工程师，要不然就是工程师。
And so we found out, I kind of knew, but we found out, confirmed, that those jobs were chosen by their parents because they felt that this is a very secure profession and there'll always be jobs, and that's why they did it.
那然后其实我们已经知道了，但是我在问他们的时候呢，又证实了这点，就是他们之所以会从事这个工作呢，是由于他们的父母给他们选择的，因为父母觉得这个工作会给他们带来稳定的生活。
So I asked them a question.
所以呢，我就问他们了一个问题。
I had heard that there was a person who had a small organic farm in India, and he was becoming quite wealthy producing organic produce.
然后呢，就是我听说呢，就是有一个人他在印度呢有一个小的有机农场，然后呢，他通过种植这有机农作物而变得越来越富有。
So I asked them, if your parents found out that organic farming has now become a more lucrative profession than IT, would they send you to school to study organic farming?
然后呢，我就问他，我说，如果要是你们的父母现在发现，就是种植有机这个地，就是进行这个有机农业的这个发展，现在要比做 IT 要更加的有前途的话，那你们的父母会不会把你们给送到学校里面去学习有机种植呢？
In other words, if your parents discovered you could make more money growing organic vegetables than in IT, would they then send you to school to study organic gardening? That was my question.
Yeah， 就我的问题就是说，如果要是你的父母发现，就是去进行有机这个蔬菜的这个种植的话，能够比 IT 要挣更多的钱的话，他们会不会把你给送到学校里面去学习进行有机种植？
And without thinking for a second, they all said, yes, they would.
他们连想都没想，当时就说他们会的。
And this is the land of Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavad Gita and Arjuna is being taught, don't do another's duty, do your duty.
那在《博家梵歌》里面，我们被教导的就是 Krishna 对尔朱那说，不要去从事其他人的活动，你要去履行自己的职责。
So it's a real paradox.
所以呢，这就是一个真的是一个悖论。
And I assume it's somewhat similar in your country.
那我想，可能在咱们国家，在中国也有类似的问题。
Like if your kids say, I want to study history.
就比如说这个小孩说，我想学历史。
What are you going to do with a history degree?
那你拿了一个历史学的文凭，你怎么办呢？
You'll get only place you'll be able to work with a history degree is McDonald's.
那就是如果你要是只有拿着这个历史学的文凭的话，你可能只能在麦当劳里面去找一份工作了。
Yeah. This problem is so bad in India that they actually made a film it's not a documentary. They made a movie about this problem in India.
那在印度呢，这个问题其实还是一个非常严重的一个问题，所以呢，他们就这个问题制作了一部电影。
How all the kids are being forced into one profession.
所有的这些孩子们全部都被强迫的去从事一个职业，
So it's artificial.
所以这是很人为造作的。
Yeah. So that's the first point, that your goals should be connected to your nature, your abilities, your inspiration.
所以说呢，这个第一个原则就是你的目标必须要和你的本性、和你的能力，和你的这个就是和你自己的这个能力相关的。
And all of you should have service goals.
还有就是被你的这个激励的，然后所有的每个人呢都必须要有一个要服务的目标。
And you should be thinking how to improve in those areas
而
over
且呢，
time.
我们应该随时都在想，我们如何在这些领域去提升自己。
And then seeing how that service is gradually expanding Krishna consciousness more and more.
然后呢，再看到就是这些服务，就我们所从事的这些服务，如何能够越来越多的来扩展 Krishna 知觉。
And if your service is directly engaged in presenting Krishna to people, then you want to monitor it to see if it's effective.
那如果要是你的这个服务呢，就是直接的向别人进行 Krishna 知觉的传播的话，那么你就需要去观察，看这个服务它是不是很有效。
So I was looking at my book,
我在看我的书，
and there's like 6 chapters on goals.
那我的书上呢有关于6章都是跟制定目标相关的。
Do you want to spend the next 2 months talking about this? Because if we read the book, we could, I don't know, at least a month. I think we should do it because I think there's a lot of valuable information here.
那么在这本书里面，其实有很多非常的有价值的信息在这儿，所以我觉得我们至少要花下面的这1个月的时间来阅读关于目标的这方面的信息。
Is that okay with all of you?
大家都同意吗？
You spend that much time?
那我们愿不愿意花1个小时，花1个月的时间来学习关于目标这方面的信息？
Okay. So I'm beginning with the first chapter, and I'm just going to paraphrase. I'll be reading and paraphrasing.
OK，Thank you。我们现在开始读书了。
Yeah. So the first chapter in this section is on making New Year's resolutions.
那就是在这一部分我们讲的呢，就是要做这个新年的，就是要做出新年的决定。
So many people are making New Year's resolutions and they haven't even followed the last year's resolutions.
就是有很多人呢，他都在这个制定新年的决定，发出新年的这个决定，但是有好多人根本就没有去追随他去年他说了什么。
So, I mean, this is obviously a problem.
那所以呢，这很显然这是一个问题。
So, we have we have the intelligence to know what we should do, but we don't always have the self-discipline to follow through.
那其实呢，我们其实有这样的智慧去知道我们应该做什么，但是呢，我们却又没有办法让自己足够克己到去追随我们要去做的这个事情。
So sometimes when we set our mind on doing something, the mind may say, "You're not going to succeed."
有的时候呢，我们的这个脑子里面就决定要做一个事儿，但是呢，我们脑子就会对我们说，你肯定做不成。
Or the mind may say, "You tried to do this before and you didn't, so why bother?"
然后呢，你的这个心意会说，你之前已经试着要做了，但是呢，你都没有做成功，为什么这回还要再费劲呢？
So there, in setting goals, this is definitely one of the obstacles we're going to face is self-doubt.
所以说呢，就当我们在设立目标的时候，这一定是我们要面临的其中的一个障碍，就是我们会对自己有怀疑。
And the mind saying, why bother? You're not going to succeed.
因为我们的这个脑子就对我们说，啊，你为什么要让自己去被这件事情去折腾呢？反正你也成功不了。
So when you set a goal, this is kind of like just a natural consequence. The mind will kick in, and because now you're trying to do something, so the mind's going to put doubts in your head.
那所以说呢，这其实是一个很正常的一个程序，就是当你设立了一个目标的时候呢，这会儿你的这个脑子就心意就卷进来了，然后这个心意在你设立了一个目标之后，它就会开始给你提出各种各样的疑问。
Now, so one of the things we must learn in order to follow through on our goals is not to allow negativity, not to allow that negativity of the mind to affect us.
那所以说呢，我们有一件事情必须要注意的，就是为了要去执行我们的目标，就是我们不能够让我们心意给我们的一些负面的情绪来影响我们。
One psychologist writer said, 83% of your thoughts are negative.
就是有一位心理学家，他这样说，他这样写道，他说呢，就是在我们脑子里的83%的想法都是负面的。
He said, no, what he said is, he said, wrong quote. He said, 83% of your thoughts are repetitive. They're the same thoughts, and most are negative.
OK，他是这么说的，他说就是83%的这些想法都是在这个重复的想法，而且呢，大部分的这些想法都是负面的。
So I know I should do this, and then there's all this negativity is going to come in. It's too hard. I don't feel like it. I'll do it tomorrow. All of that.
那就比如说，我知道我要做这件事儿了，但是呢，就有好多这些负面的这些想法全都卷了进来，就会说，哎呀，这件事情太难做了，我做不到啊，要不然我明天再做吧。
So that's very dangerous. I'll do it tomorrow.
那我要明天再做，这是一个非常危险的想法。
Yeah. So one of the things I've learned is that people who are successful are able to continue towards their goals in spite of all the self-doubt and all the negativity that the mind may bring up.
那就是我学到一点呢，就是那些能够成功的达到目标的人，就是他有这样一种能力，就是虽然说他的这个脑子里会有各种各样的负面情绪，但是呢，他不管，他就可以继续的执行他的目标。
Sometimes Prabhupada says, you may have to neglect your mind when it's coming up with thoughts that are not helpful. You're going to just have to not pay attention to those thoughts.
那所以说，爸爸说呢，有的时候就是当脑子里面出现了一些对我们其实没有太多帮助的这些想法的时候，你最好就是忽略它，把它放到一边，不用管它。
So if you want to achieve something, it's pretty much guaranteed there's going to be some problem there. And so what successful people do is they don't allow that negativity to stop them. Even though the negativity is there, they just keep going forward.
那所以说呢，就是当我们想要去达成某一件事情的时候，就是100%的会发生的事情，就是一定是会有障碍的。那么这个成功的人，他们的可贵之处就在于，他们不管这些障碍，他们这个无视这些障碍，就是只让自己不断的去追随自己的目标。
So the philosophy behind that is that the mind is conditioned. And so a lot of what's coming up is not relevant to our life now. It may have been relevant to our last life or life earlier. And so we need to learn that art of neglect. because there may be a lot that we have to neglect.
那所以这个问题在于是什么呢？是因为我们的这个心意它是受条件限制的，所以呢，就是在心意里面所出现的很多的这些情况，它其实都和我们现在的生活是没有关系的，它是在以前的，甚至于是前生的那些在搅扰它的东西翻了出来，所以呢，我们就必须要学会忽视的艺术。
Sometimes you see in the prayers of Vaishnavas, they're actually talking to their mind.
那所以我们有时候会看到 Vaishnava 他们的这个祷文，他们其实在和自己的心意在聊天。
But actually what they're doing is they're reasoning with their mind.
但是呢，其实他们在这么做的原因呢，是他们在 reasoning here means
making sense.
OK， 那其实他这里面其实是在让自己的这个心意变得更加的理智。
So your mind says, you've tried this before and it failed, so don't bother.
那然后这个心意说呢，就是你以前已经试过这件事儿了，比如说在监狱里面已经试过了，所以呢，别再为这事再担心了。
In order not to give into the mind, you have to reason with it and say, well, that was then, and I'm a different person now, so I'm going to try again. You have to know how to, it's like you're having an argument and you have to know how to defeat it.
那这会儿呢，就是你要知道怎么去跟你的这个心意去进行辩论，那你就会跟心意说，那这已经是那会儿所发生的事儿了，我现在已经是一个新的人了，所以我现在要过我现在的生活。
Have you ever done something that you later regretted doing because you couldn't talk your mind into allowing you to do it? Has that ever happened?
Yes, 就是你有没有这样的一种体验，就是你没有做什么事儿，后来其实你感到很后悔，因为当时你没有办法说服你的心意去做这件事儿，有没有过这样的体验？
Give another example.
给你另外一个例子。
I'm afraid to do a certain service because I think I'm going to fail.
那比如说我害怕做某一个服务，因为我害怕会失败，
So then you reason with your mind.
所以呢就开始跟你的心意去讲理了。
I'm afraid if I try to do this program, nobody will come.
那我很担心，如果我要是做了这个节目的话呢，没人来。
And so you reason with your mind, well, if I don't try to do the program, then definitely nobody will come. So it can't get any worse than that already.
这会儿呢，你会跟着这个心意，就是说，如果我要是根本就不做这个节目的话，那也就肯定不会有任何人来，那没有比这件事更糟的了。
So then that makes sense.
那所以这样就这个事情变得合理了。
Okay, let's try it. Let's see what happens. No loss, because if I don't try it, nobody's coming anyway.
那好吧，那就让咱们试试吧，因为反正也不会有比这个，如果是现在我不试的话，就没有人来，这样的情况更糟糕的情况了。
One person once said, the mind is like a salesman.
那有一个人他曾经说，就我们的这个心意，它就好像是一个推销员一样。
And it's trying to sell you on its ideas. So you have to be a better salesman and sell the mind on your ideas.
他呢就会让你他会向你兜售好多好多的想法，所以呢，你呢就要变成一个技高一筹的销售员，去把你的这个想法去兜售给你的心意。
Yeah. And this usually or often this kind of negativity is activated when you make an intention, when you set a goal, and then right after that the negativity comes.
那其实就是当你有了这么一个意图，你想要去设立一个目标的时候，这会儿这心意的所有的这些负面的东西全部都启动了。
But Prabhupada wants us to make these goals.
但是呢，Prabhupada他希望我们要制定这些目标。
And I think making goals, you could call it in and of itself, it's a devotional practice.
那其实我们可以说，就是设定目标这本身它就是一个奉爱服务。
Yeah. So let's say I'm going to make a goal not to criticize anybody.
那比如说呢，我现在我要设定一个目标，就是我再也不去批评其他的人了。
That's a glorious goal.
那这是一个充满了荣耀的目标。
Right? And maybe I will fail.
也许可能我做不到，
Or maybe we could say, I probably will fail.
或者说我可能我就真的会失败的。
But even though I fail, probably I'm going to criticize less people than I normally do.
但是就即便是我做不到，也许可能我也会比平常批评的人的次数要少。
So just the practice of making the goal is glorious.
所以说呢，就是制定目标的这个习练本身，它就是很光荣的。
Sometimes we would go on book distribution and we'd say, I'm going to distribute so many books today, 50 books, 100 books.
有的时候呢，我们出去派书，我们可能就会在想，我今天肯定要派好多书，我可能会派50本到100本书。
Of course, we didn't know if we could do it.
但是我们并不知道我们是不是能做到这一点。
But I personally felt so inspired by those devotees who made those goals. I thought this is devotional service. They're so bold and enthusiastic. They're making these big goals.
但是呢，我自己本人就非常的被这一些做出这样的目标的奉献者所鼓舞激励，因为我觉得他们实在是充满了热情，他们非常的勇敢，能够制定这样的灵性目标。
Yeah. So if you have a goal to go to Taiwan, you are not going to end up in the United States.
如果你要是做出一个目标去台湾的话，你肯定不会最后让自己中足在美国了。
Right, unless the plane is hijacked.
除非这个飞机被绑架了。
But now here's something funny about goals, and it's also sad.
那我就听到一些就是关于目标很好玩的一些说法，但是其实也挺让人伤心的。
Some people only make goals that they know they can achieve.
有些人呢，他仅仅去做那些他觉得他能够达到的目标，作为他的目标。
They don't want to make a goal that they're not 100% sure they can succeed at.
就是如果他要是不是100%的确认他能够成功的真正那个目标的话，他是不会制定那个目标的。
And if you're 100% sure you can achieve it, it's probably a goal that's not that inspiring or
但是
even needed.
但是如果你要是制定了一个100%能够达到的目标的话，这个目标也许可能就不会那么的激励人，或者是根本就是一个不需要的目标。
And in fact, some people will make a goal that's actually a failure for them just because they can reach that goal, even though it's not even the goal they want.
但其实呢，就是有些人他制定了一个制定了一个目标，这个目标对于他来说其实是一个失败的原因，就是由于他很容易就这个达到了，然后呢，这个目标呢也不会激励他。Sorry.
So they make a goal they don't really want because they can achieve it instead of the goal they really want because they're afraid they can't achieve it.
所以说呢，他就不会制定一个他真正的想要的这个目标。他没有制定那真正的想要的目标，是因为他害怕他达不到这个目标。
You understand?
大家明白吗？
I'm going to fly to Taiwan. Do you want to go to Taiwan? No, I want to go to America, but I don't know if I can get to America, so I'll just fly to Taiwan and be depressed there. It doesn't make any sense.
就是我要想去这个，我要去，我坐飞机去到了台湾。其实呢，我并不是真的想要去台湾，我其实是想要去美国，但是我不知道能不能去美国，所以我就去了台湾，然后在台湾那个地方准备好了。
So you get the security of knowing that you can achieve this, but it's not what you want to achieve.
那所以说呢，你很确保的你达到了这么一个目标，但其实这个目标并不是你想要达到那个目标。
Do you like your job? No, but at least I know how to do it. Why don't you go for another job? No, that's too much anxiety. Something like that.
你喜欢你的工作吗？我不喜欢我的工作，但为什么要做这个工作呢？是因为至少我能做这个工作。那你想不想去找另外一个工作呢？不，我不想这个问题，因为那个会让我太焦虑了。
So now we can stop for questions.
那所以现在我们就讲课这部分先停下来，我们先来看一下大家的问题。
And then we will continue on this topic.
然后关于目标的这个话题呢，我们下一周再继续讲。
Probably for a few months, I think, maybe.
OK， 那也许可能我们要讲几个月的时间。
But I think it'll help you a lot.
但是我想这应该给大家很大帮助的。
So at least for tonight, you can be thinking if maybe get more clarity on your goals.
那
That's
也许我
important.
们在今天我们至少应该想的就是我们要更加的清晰我们的目标。
If you don't have goals, you don't have direction. You won't really be inspired.
因为如果你要是没有目标的话，那其实你就没有方向，你就不能够真正的被激励。
Someone told me there's a Chinese proverb. I don't know if you ever heard it. If you don't know where you're going, you'll get there.
If you don't know you're going, but you'll get there.
Yeah, because
Right.
you'll end up, you're going to end up somewhere, but it's just not where you want to go.
就是有人跟我说这是中国的一个谚语，就是你如果是没有目标的话，你最终也不会去到那个地方。So I need to.
I'll give you an example. It's like you look at your life and say, I don't like the way my life is going. Well, that's because you didn't direct it the way you wanted it to go. So it just ended up like it ended up. So if you don't have a direction where you want to go, you're still going to end up somewhere.
就是这样的哈，就是如果我要是不知道我这个生活如果要是没有目标的话，那么我就让它任意的这么去走，然后最终呢，我就不知道会走到一个什么样的方向。但是如果我们要是有这个目标，让我们的这个生活有这个目标的去走的话呢，我们最终还是会去到一个地方的。From that saying, the Chinese people is encouraging us to have a goal or not have a goal.
Yeah, to have a goal.
所以就刚才那个就是中国的这个谚语的意思，就是说我们必须要有目标，然后最终呢才会去到一个我们想要去到的地方。
It's kind of like, let's get in the car and take a ride. Where are we going? I don't know. Just take a ride.
那就好像是我们这个坐上车，然后呢去游一下车河，可是我们要去哪儿呢？不知道要去哪儿，反正就坐在车上面去到处开吧。
So we're going to end up somewhere. It just doesn't mean we're going to end up where we want to be. It's just we'll be somewhere.
那也就是说呢，我们最终会去到一个地方，但是呢，去到这个地方呢，并不意味着是我们想要去的那个地方，但是反正我们会去到一个地方。
It's a simple principle.
那所以呢，这是一个很简单的一个原则。
Okay, let's take the questions.
OK， 我们先来看一下问题。第一个问题呢是来自于 Bhakti D Mataji 的：如何制定符合自己能力和天性的目标，而不好高骛远？通常没有自知之明，不知道自己的潜力和能力，这样制定的目标不切实际，导致自己沮丧失望。So, how to establish a goal based on my ability and my nature, but it's not something beyond my reality. Because sometimes if we don't have a very clear idea about where I am, and I don't know what is my potential and what is my ability. So in that case, I will make a goal which is not really fit with the reality. So eventually I will be very disappointed and very frustrated.
Yeah, so you probably need to meet with some devotees to discuss, to get more clarity.
就这个呢，你可能是需要跟一些奉献者来进行一些探讨，然后呢，让自己的思路变得更加的清晰。
Sometimes I ask devotees to say, well, if you could do whatever you wanted, what would you do?
那有时候我就会问奉献者，如果要是你可以做任何你想做的事情的话，那你要做什么呢？
Yeah, so normally we don't think that way because we have to think practically. I can't just do whatever I want. So I'm going to do this because it's practical. But this question is not asking you to be practical. Just ask, well, if you could do anything, what would you do? And then that helps you get a little closer to understanding your nature.
因为通常来说我们是不会这么想的，因为我们总是会按实际出发，就我们不会在想我想做什么我就做什么，而是想着就是我实际就是为了实际的这个目的我要去做什么。所以呢，如果我要是在想着我想做什么我就去做什么的话，这样可能就能够更好的了解我们自己的本性。
It's kind of like writing a script for a movie.
那么就好像是给电影写剧本。
So the movie can be called Donna Kelly, it could be called Leela Rani, Vrenda Devi, PC Lin, Gabriela Sita Devi. That could be the name of the movie.
然后呢，我们的这电影的这个名字呢，可以是 Dana Kelly，也可以是 Lila Rani，也可以是 P.C. 林，也可以是 Venda Rani，可以是各种各样的名字。
Yeah, so you're all stars in your own movie.
然后呢，我们全部都是我们的这个
So-
电影里的明星。
So imagine this movie could go any way you want it, and you're writing the script of the movie of your life. How would you write it? What would it look like?
那就比如说，我们可以这个恣意的、任意的去写这个剧本儿，然后呢，可以想怎么写就怎么写。那我们怎么去写这个剧本呢？
Don't think practically. It's just a movie script. It's just it can be any way you want.
然后这样不要从实际的去想，因为这只不过是一个电影剧本儿，就我们想怎么编就怎么编。
I would be living in this country, working for this company, or doing this service and this, just whatever you want. Just write it.
那就比如说我是住在这个国家，然后呢我是为这个公司打工，或者是我在做这个服务，在做那个服务，就是天马行空的把这个剧本给写出来。
But don't think practically, because if you think practically, you won't get in touch with what's really in your heart, because it'll always be stopped by thinking, well, that's not practical.
因为就不要从实际的这个角度去想，因为如果是从实际去想的话呢，我们的这个心就一直就会被这个阻塞因为我们在想，哎呀，这个事儿它不符合实际，所以就写不下去了。
So first you start with your inspiration.
那么首先呢，我们是先要从灵感开始，
And then step 2 is like, okay, how could I practically do this?
然后呢，第二点我们在想，那我怎么实际的能够把这件事儿给做出来呢？
Because if you start with how can I practically do what I want, you'll never come to what you want because you'll just think, I can't do it.
但是如果我们要是从一开始就非常实际的去想的话，那我们就没有办法做了，因为我们时刻都在想着这件事儿做不到。
So you can all write your movie script now.
所以我们每一个人都可以去写自己的剧本儿。
You know, it's a really fun exercise if you want to do it.
但如果大家要是愿意的话呢，你知道
Let's do this. This will be really fun.
OK， 这是一个特别有趣儿的一件事儿，我们来做一做。
Your homework is to write the script.
那我们的作业是要写剧本儿，
You know, let's say where you want to be 10 years from now, what you want to be
Sure.
doing and what realizations and qualities you want to have, everything.
就比如说呢，就是从现在开始10年以后，你希望能够变成什么样子？在那会儿你有什么样的品质啊？然后你有什么样的这个觉悟啊？任何的方面都可以写。
If anything were possible,
嗯
it's just a movie script, so anything is possible.
那
In
么因
10
为这
years, where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing?
那么因为呢，这个是一个电影剧本儿，所以呢，一切都是有可能的。所以呢，就是在10年之后你是怎么样的状态 ？In 10 years, right?
10 years.
Yes，就是在10年之后会是这样的什么样的状态？
This week, you all write that.
所以呢，这个星期咱大家都写这剧本儿。
All of you listening, you write it.
所有今天听课的奉献者们，大家都写剧本儿。
And then next week, when we come back,
然后下一周当我们再回来上课的时候，
we're going to pretend it's 10 years from now.
那所以我们下一课的时候，我们就假装已经是10年以后了。
And each of you are going to talk, or anyone who wants to is going to talk and tell us what you're doing now. Like it's 10 years from now. So you've already done it, and now you're telling us what it looks like.
那如果是就是愿意的奉献者呢，在下一次我们上课的时候呢，就来给我们讲讲，因为现在已经10年以后过去了嘛。那么现在10年以后，现在你在做什么？
So let's say Sita Devi has an idea. So next week she comes and says, well, we have this company and now we have branches in 50 cities in China. We have 10,000 employees. We've, in the last 10 years, reached over 3 million people with our education. You know, it's just like that. It's like, this is what I want to do, and it's 10 years, and you talk about it as if it's actually happening in the present. It's so blissful. You're going to love it.
那就比如说像这个西特玛吉他有这么一个想法哈，就比如他现在有一个公司，然后呢这个公司呢在这个全国有50多个分支，然后呢我们有1万个员工，那么10年之后呢，就我们这个员工已经扩展到了这个300万人了，所以说呢就是我都做到了什么，然后就我们当时在讲的时候呢，就好像当时的这个情况已经全部都发生了，所以呢我们就把这个讲出来。 那不是说呢，在讲的时候呢是会非常的极乐的。
I've done this before.
那我以前做过这个。
And what happens when you describe what it is, it makes you realize that it's not like so hard to do this because you're describing it like it's already happening, and it builds this confidence in you. It's very interesting psychologically to describe something of the future in the present tense as it's like it's happening now. That's really interesting.
这个其实是一个非常有意思的一个做法，而且呢，它是会让我们产生很大的这个信心的。就是当你在现在的这个状况去描述将来你认为已经发生的这个事情，然后你就会觉得这件事情其实并没有那么难做，所以呢，你就会对这件事情会更有信心。这是一个很有意思的一个这个心理学的做法。
So maybe one of you is you'll describe to us your eco village and what's going on in your eco village.
那也许可能你们其中有一个人呢，会向我们这个讨论一下，就是我们的这个你所建立起的这个生态村的状况。
Or one of you has established a Gurukula and you're telling us what's going on in your Gurukula.
那或者其中有一个人呢，他已经这个建立起了一个咕噜库学校，然后在这个咕噜库学校里面都发生了一些什么事情。
Or one of you is living in Mayapur and you're telling us what your service is in Mayapur.
那或者说呢，其中你们可能有一位奉献者告诉我们说，你现在已经定居在马尔普了，然后你在马尔普的服务都是些什么？
So that's the assignment for next week.
所以呢，这个是我们下一周这一周要做的作业。
And that's my answer to your question. I think it will answer your question if you do this exercise.
然后呢，这也是我回答您的这个问题的方式。就如果你要是做这个练习的话呢，也能够回答您的问题。
You're going to write down, ideally in a perfect world, your movie script of where you want to be in 10 years, what you want to be doing.
那所以呢，就是说是从理想的这个生活状态下，这个我们在10年之后，我们的这个生活应该是什么样的状态？
Okay, more questions?
Yeah. The same devotee, she is asking, 我们的终极目标是一个吗？Do we have the same ultimate goal? Or actually, she is asking if it's true that is all of us have the same ultimate goal.
Ultimately, yeah, love of Krishna.
那终极来说是的，我们的目标都是要爱 Krishna。
But different roads to get there,
但是我
according to our
们
nature.
但是呢，我们会根据我们的天性有不同的路去到那个最终的目标。
Of course, some things we do, it's all going to be the same, but our service is going to be different.
当然了，我们有一些事情是都要做的，都是同样的这个事情，但是呢，我们的服务是不一样的。
Okay, next question.
还是这个the question still from the Mataji Bhakti D。如果一个奉献者同时具备婆罗门、刹帝利、Vaishya、Sudra 的天性，是否意味着他可以做所有这些活动？ Well, she's asking if a devotee at the spontaneously combined all the natures as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. So that means that she actually can do all of those activities.
And she doesn't go crazy, yeah.
如果要是这个人他没有变疯的话，那是的。
But generally, one or two will predominate.
但是通常来说呢，一个人他可能会有主要的一个或两个特征。
When you have that like nature where you could do anything, then you have to see where you can be most productive and where you're most inspired.
但就如果是有这样一种天性的人，就是他觉得他什么都能够做的话，那他也必须要看到就是自己最主要的那个方向是在什么地方。
Like some people are teachers and they're Vaishyas, so they make a lot of money teaching. So that works well. That works together.
那比如说有些人他是老师，但是呢他又有这个混合着 Vaishya， 所以说呢他就可以通过教书赚好多钱，但是呢这也就是很合拍，很好。
I mean, it's not ideal, but if you need to make money as a teacher, then it's helpful.
但是虽然说这并不是最理想的，但是如果要是需要在老师的这个职业上赚钱的话，那这就挺有帮助的。
Because it's not Vedic culture where people are just going to give you donations because you're teaching.
因为我们现在已经不是伟大文化，并不是说是你只要教书，别人就能够给你布施。
And the king's not going to give you 100 cows with gold horns because
然
you're
后
a
这个
Brahmin
那国王也不会因为你是婆罗门，所以呢就给你这个100头有着金角的牛，
or 1,000 cows.
或者说1000头牛。
Yeah. So it depends how you combine those natures.
所以呢，这要取决于我们如何把这些本性、这些天性给它结合在一起。The next one, she said that 今天的目标的话题的关键词是根据自己的天性确定目标吗？能取悦 Krishna 吗？ Krishna 希望我们依据自己的天性服务他而取悦他吗？ So she said that the key words of today is that we need to based on our nature to establish the goal. But if we do that, is that a way to please Lord Krishna? Do you think Lord Krishna hope that we, based on our own nature, to serve him? Will that be a way to please him?
Yeah, that's what Bhagavad Gita says. So I don't have to think about it.
那所以说呢，因为这是《薄伽梵歌》里面所说的，所以呢，我们根本就不用考虑这个。
I mean, it doesn't have to be my opinion. It's what Bhagavad Gita says.
因为所以呢，这并不是说是我的意见，而这是圣典《薄伽梵歌》
You
里面。
know, we're so conditioned that, society says you should be like this. It's sometimes hard for us to accept that Krishna wants us to engage according to our nature.
那因为我们其实呢是非常的受条件限制的，因为这个社会它就会告诉我们我们应该这么做那么做，所以有的时候呢我们就没有办法去特别的相信《薄伽梵歌》里面 Krishna 对我们说我们要按照我们的本性去活、去生活、去从事活动。
Like there was a time in my life where the only way I could make money was by doing something that was just like really caused me a lot of suffering.
那我在我的生活中有一个阶段，就在那段时间呢，我必须要去赚，就是我赚钱的方式，它总是会让我很痛苦。
It was almost like I gravitated to do something I didn't like because I thought, well, you have to suffer to make money.
然后呢，就是我必须要去做一些我非常不喜欢做的事情，然后呢，我就觉得我赚钱，我就是得受苦，然后呢才能赚到钱。
So we're conditioned to think in different ways.
那所以说呢，我们因为在条件限制中，所以呢，我们就会以不同的方式去想。
If you're inspired and you're doing nice service, then certainly Krishna is happy.
但是如果要是你是被激励的、被鼓舞的，然后呢做了好的服务 ，Krishna 一定是会非常开心的。
I mean, if your children go hungry and your husband goes hungry because you're inspired to go out and do something, that, obviously it's not like that.
但如果要是你的丈夫现在正在受饿，你的孩子也正在受饿，可是呢，你现在被激励着要出去做一些什么事情，那肯定这是不对的。
I'm not cooking, I'm not cleaning, because Mahatma Prabhu said I should do what I'm inspired to do, and I'm not inspired to cook and clean. So
我不想打扫房间，我也不想做饭，因为马哈特玛帕布说了，我得做那些我被激励着去做的那件事儿。但是呢，我现在一点也不激励着想要去做饭或者是打扫房间，所以我就不干这事儿。
The GBC is going to call me up and said, "You've destroyed every family in China by your preaching."
然后呢 ，GBC 就得来找我了，说你就通过你这样的传教方式，就把中国的所有的家庭都给毁了。
All the women are not taking care of their families.
那么所有的就毁掉了所有的那些要照顾他们的家庭的女人。
Yeah, so you have Varna, but you have ashram, so you have duties within your ashram
那
also.
所以我们有 Varna，就是有这个灵性的阶层，但是我们有我们的 ashram，就是我们要去履行的社会的职责。灵性的阶段，刚才说。Next question mark.
Yes.
Bhakti 第三，如果不耽误给 Damodar 点灯可以。 Winda David 顶拜咕噜的莲花族，顶拜翻译姐的莲花族，顶拜您的莲花族。请问咕噜，一个人可能会同时有几个目标吗？比如说喜欢唱歌，也喜欢赚钱，同时还喜欢传播 Krishna 知觉。那么是否可以既学习唱诵，又去赚钱，同时在这个过程中提升自己，吸引别人成为奉献者，甚至支持到别人提升他们的 Krishna 知觉，找到他们的天赋，为 Krishna 服务，从而取悦圣帕帕德。Winda David said that please accept my venerable obeisances to you, Shri Day. And my question is that is that possible for one person simultaneously to have several goals? For example, if I love to sing and also love to make money, and at the same time, I also love to preach Krishna consciousness. So in this case, can I, at the same time to learn chant and at the same time go to make money? And at the same time, during this process, I improve myself and I attract the others to become devotee. I even elevated the others for their Krishna consciousness. And I help them to find what's their nature and using their nature to serve the Lord in this way to please Srila Prabhupada.
I think so. I mean, you could have goals that work against one another, but it doesn't sound like those goals are going to work against one another.
就是当然是可以的。就是如果要是所有的这些目标，他们不会相互的这个掐架的话，就没问题。而且当然您在里面所列出来的这些例子，他们应该是不矛盾的。
Like a goal that would work against one another is like, I want to build an eco village, but I want to study 5 hours a day and teach. They're so, it's going to be difficult to do both.
就比如说这个，就是相互有这个冲突的这个目标。就比如说，我想建立一个生态村，但与此同时呢，我又想每天花5个小时的学习和5个小时去传教，那么这个就不可能同时做到了。
At least for many people.
至少对于大部分人来说是没有办法同时做到的。
But if the goals are not getting in the way, then it's okay.
所以说，但如果要是我们的这个目标它没有对我们起到这个障碍的话，那这个目标就是多个目标是没有问题的。
But it's always good to have some hierarchy, like what's most important. So if you have time restrictions, then you focus on what's most important.
但是呢，我们其实还是要有一个轻重缓急，我们要知道什么对我们来说是最重要的。我们要分出这个阶梯来，要做那个最重要的事情。
So one day, Vrinda Devi calls up Leela Rani and says, "I got kicked out of my flat." And Leela Rani says, "Why?" He said, "Well, I've been singing all day and all night and not working, so I don't have any money."
然后有一天呢 ，Winda David 就跑去跟 Leela Rani 说。得，我被从我的这个租处地方给轰出来了。然后琳琅邦尼就问你为什么被轰出来了？他说因为我呀一天到晚24小时早晚都在唱诵，所以呢我就没工作。然后我一不工作我就没钱了，所以呢我就付不起房租，我就被踢出来了。
Well, maybe if you sing really bad, the neighbors will throw like tomatoes through the windows, and you'll have something to eat.
或者说，如果要是你唱的这个歌实在是太难听了，然后呢，让的这个邻居都受不了，所以呢，邻居就会往你的窗户上扔土豆，这样他们把土豆扔进来之后呢，就有吃的了。The next one.
Yes.
OK， 下面一个是来自于 Bhakti D。我后悔上辈子做服务时没有选择成为 Guru， 服务更多的门徒。那我遇到障碍心理有反应也正常啊，毕竟不是成功人士。我做服务不被激励，就说明不是我应该做的服务，躲起来就好了，可以吗？Bhakti D, she said that actually I feel very regretful that for my previous life I didn't choose to become a guru, because in that way I can serve more disciples. actually it's quite normal that when I encounter some obstacles, then I have some of the negative reactions to it. I think that is quite normal because after all, I am not the successful person yet. I am not inspired by that service is because that's not the service I should do. So I should hide myself. Will that be the right way to do?
Hide yourself? What does that mean?
I think what she's saying that so if I am not inspired by that service, means that service is not my service. So I just drop it and I hide myself, just don't do it. Is that the right way?
Yeah, do another service. Yeah, generally.
就如果你躲起来的意思，就是说你就不做这个服务，你就去做其他的服务了，那是没有问题的。
You can do it another different way. Teach people a different way.
然后呢，或者你可以以不同的方式去做服务，以不同的方式去教别人。
That's generally the answer, although sometimes, you may be needed to do that service here or there because no one else is doing it. But generally, if you're not really inspired, it's probably just goes against your nature.
OK， 那通常来说是这样的，但是有的时候呢，你依然还是需要去做这个服务的，就是因为可能这个服务没有人做，所以说呢，你还是需要去做的。So then the next question.
Yes.
Next question from Gabriela Malaji. Is it better to set a concrete goal where to go, or simply ask Krishna to put us on the path of service that he deems convenient and one go to that path that he shows? 那 Malaji 的这个问题就是说，我们更好的是要设立一个就是一个固定一个很坚实的一个目标，朝向什么方向走呢？还是我们仅仅就是向 Krishna 请求，然后让咱们走在这个服务的这条路上，然后呢 Krishna 他就会向我们展示，让我们去到那个更合适的地方。
Only if you're not sure.
那就是当你不是特别确定自己的目标的时候，是可以这样做的。
Or you're in a mood where you just want to do anything Krishna asks.
那或者说呢，你是处在这种心绪中，就是你想要做 Krishna 任何让你做的事情。
But generally, you'll do better if you've got a plan.
但是通常来说，如果你要是有计划的话呢，你就能够做得更好。
Prabhupada's mood was, this is my plan, Krishna, if you allow me, if you want it, I'm dependent on you. So it's kind of a combination of both.
那么 Sri Prabhupada 的这个心绪呢，就是说这是我的计划。那么 Sri Krishna， 如果你要是愿意的话呢，那么就让我去执行这个计划。所以说它就是这两种的结合。
So sometimes it depends on the mood of the devotee. I've done both.
那所以说呢，这个其实要取决于这位奉献者他所处在的这种心绪。我这两种情况都有。
Sometimes you have a plan and you're trying to achieve a goal and it's just not happening. So you might say, all right, I give up, Krishna. It's like, whatever you want me to do, I'll do, because this is going nowhere. So it might be an emotional response to not achieving your goal. So that's natural.
但有的时候呢，就是你有一个这个目标，但是呢，你就没有达到这个目标，然后呢，你就放弃，你就说，哎呀 ，Krishna 算了吧，我无所谓了，反正你让我怎么做我就怎么做吧。那么其实这也是一个很正常的一个情绪上的反应。
But you could do that and look back at your life 10 years from now and think, I should have just had a goal because right now I'm like nowhere. So that's also possible.
但是呢，就是如果你要是再回首自己10年以前，你可能就会在想，哎呀，我当时如果要是有一个目标就好了，否则的话，你看我现在就什么也不是，就完全在一个还是很迷茫的状态。
there's a fine line between surrender and the mode of ignorance.
那么就是皈依和愚昧之间其实有一个非常的微妙的这么一个界限的。
And anyway, the second choice often happens even if you try to set a goal, because it doesn't always work out. And Krishna may have another plan. So that can happen anyway.
那还有另外一个就是会发生的这么一个问题呢，就是我们设立了一个目标，但是无论我们怎么去努力呢，我们这个目标都没有达成。那么 Sri Krishna 呢，他会对我们是会有一个计划的。那所以这样的事情也是会发生的。
Yeah, we have our plans. Let us see what Krishna wants. That's the mood of the devotee.
那如果是一个奉献者，他的心绪呢，就是我有一个计划，但是呢，要看 Sri Krishna 他到底想要什么。
And sometimes the prayer is, you can say, Krishna, I just want to do what you want. Reveal to me what you want. So rather than just leave it floating in the air, you're praying to Krishna to give you guidance as to what he wants.
那所以有的时候呢，奉献者他的这个祈祷就是 Krishna， 我想做你想让我做的事情，但是请您向我揭示您到底想要什么，就是您的这个想法是什么，然后你这样的方式 Krishna 给我们一些指导。
And the next day you get a phone call and someone saying, we need you to do this service. So then you know.
然后呢，第二天你就接到了一个电话，这电话说我们希望你来做这个服务，这会儿你就知道了。
That once happened to me. I was in this mood of, Krishna, I don't want to just think about what I want, whatever you want. 10 minutes later, I got a service to go to another country to solve some problem. 10 minutes later. So
那有一次我就是有这样一个体验，就是我对 Krishna 说，我不想做我想做的事情，我想做你想让我做的事情，请您告诉我你想让我做什么。10分钟之后，我就收到了一个电话，就让我到另外一个国家去解决那个地方的问题。
Gabriella, sometimes it depends on the devotee's mood.
所以说有的时候呢，它就取决于这个奉献者他所处在的心绪。
So some devotees will be more in that mood where I just want to see how Krishna directs me, and I'm open to that.
那么有些奉献者他所处的这种心绪呢，就是他非常的敞开的心扉，要看 Sri Krishna 他是怎么指导我前行的。
But like I say, 10 years later, you might regret that if you realize I should have been focused on going in a certain direction. So you take that in consideration.
但是呢，10年以后，你就会后悔，你就在想，其实我也应该是让自己有一个更加明确的行走的一个方向的。所以呢，我们也要把这个问题要考虑进去。
Usually, the wisdom is that you're very clear about where you want to go, and it naturally manifests over time.
那其实就是通常来说呢，就是这个真正的智慧就在于你是非常自然的，就是你非常的清晰的知道你想要去到哪里，然后呢，很自然的就会把你给带到那个地方。
Anyway, in spite of your question, the assignment for this week is to be clear about where you want to be in 10 years. So you'll have to do that, and you'll see if that's really inspiring or not.
但是呢，就是我们给大家留的这一周的这个作业，就能够回答我们的这个问题，然后呢，也会知道我们在10年之后想做什么，而且呢，是不是知道我们是被鼓舞着要去做这个事儿。
So we're going to end class now. We'll save the questions for next week.
OK， 所以呢，我们把最后的这个问题呢留到下一节课再去讲。我们今天的这节课就到此结束了。
You can say good night to me, and I can say good morning to you.
然后我们跟 Guru 说晚安，然后 Guru 和我们说早安，早上好，晚安。
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. 谢谢大家的精彩翻译。
Good night.
下周见。
Good night.
Hare Krishna.
Good night.
Bye, Prabhupada.
拜大家的莲花族。
海里波，
谢谢。Hare Krishna.
谢谢。嗨。